Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another brilliant episode of Hands Across the Water, the multi-generational, transcontinental Beatles-related podcast. I'm Andy Nichols, one of your three co-hosts, back in the flesh, back in my humble surroundings. My two co-hosts really carried that weight for the last 6 weeks or so with me on the road or in a hotel room or in anything or even not making it. And I'm pleased to finally be reunited with my mate Beatley Tone and Kyle Hand on the run. Hi, guys.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Hey,
Good.
Andy.
Hey, Kyle. Good to see you guys again. Tony.
Yes.
When we were in Montreal, why did you say to every waiter, "Don't you know who I am"?
You did that, Tone? That's terrible.
Of course I didn't.
We
He
did.
He did not.
Oh, it was absolutely just a blast to hang with you for those few days.
It was
and
it was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Andy, how would you describe all of your touring in one word?
Thrilling.
Thrillington.
It's got to bring it back to Mac. I have to. A once in a lifetime opportunity to travel to see cities across the United States that I had never been to. Do a little sightseeing. Tulsa was definitely a highlight with the Bob Dylan Center and the Woody Guthrie stuff, for sure.
Minute 30 in, we said it. Okay, now we can
I
move
said
on.
it, not you. I said it. You didn't say it.
Welcome to Hands Across the Water, a multi-generational, cross-continental Bob Dylan podcast.
There you see, Jeff. We got it, Jeff. No, it was good, and obviously Nashville being the highlight, but really, and then ending it with Tony and family in Montreal, despite coming under the weather. And you bugger, I left Montreal and you found the best fucking record store. God damn it.
We did. We found a belting record store. Really good.
What's the story?
Morning Glory. Well, Andy went on the Wednesday, and we were all going on the Thursday. So we said, well, once Andy and Heidi went, what we're going to do? So we'd already been to one record shop, and it hadn't been that good. So we found another one, and it was superb. And they took us behind the scenes because we looked through all the Beatles racks and. Exhausted what we wanted from those and said, have you got anything else? They took us around the back and they had hundreds of things, that weren't even on the rack yet. They weren't even on the
devil.
You'll remember, Andy, on that Wednesday morning, I was talking about that I'd never had an original pressing of McCartney on Apple because the one that I got in the 70s was on Capitol, and I was kind of looking, I've been looking for one for a while. Well, they had about 7. They had about 7, and but of varying qualities. There was some had nice sleeves, some had records that weren't. They didn't look that good, but I was thinking about. Like mix and matching, like taking one of the records out and putting it in a nicer sleeve. But I noticed that they put a number on a sticker, one on the sleeve and one on the label, so that they knew that they matched up.
Ooh.
So people couldn't do that. So I thought I better not. So I went for one with a nice sleeve, but the record looked a bit. It had quite a lot of surface scratches on it, and I was thinking, it might be all right when I get it home. So it was a Canadian first pressing.
Oh,
and so I cleaned it up when I got home, and played it, and it sizzled like a frying pan full of bacon.
and
so
he also spent the morning telling me how much he can't stand Kisses on the Bottom.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you found that too.
I did on vinyl. Absolute bargain price. Absolute bargain price.
That's my holy grail. That's my white whale.
Is it?
Yes.
Cheap, Kyle.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Yeah. So it was still in the shrink. It was open, but it was still in the shrink.
Killing me.
And
so
I had no intention of buying it. and Joan said to me, "You can't turn that down at that price." So it was. So I picked that up. I'm gonna do a video on it when Anthology and everything else is out of the way. I'm gonna do a video on it, but
Wow.
on what I picked up in the
On your
record store.
Montreal
But I
haul.
was very happy with what I got. The only thing that the only thing that I was disappointed about was when we were going through the racks. Joan came across a bootleg of the concert for Kampuchea, the whole gig, and she said, "Is this the whole gig?" And I looked at the track list and I went, "Yep." She said, "I'm having that," and so I was gutted that she got there before me. Because obviously, I was there. I'm on that record. I'm on that record.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is what happens when you show up to a record store and say, "Don't you know who I am?" You get brought in the back.
They get taken to the back room where all the stuff is that they don't even put out.
That's a dream come true.
Oh.
They didn't. They had that was out on the rack. The Kampuchea one was out on the rack. But Joan got there before me, and as you know, in a record shop. All's fair in love
first
and
come,
war.
first serve, baby.
Come, first serve. That's it. Next time.
The only thing we all went to that first record store. I think on the Saturday or the Saturday, I picked up a Canadian copy of Long Tall Sally, otherwise known as the Beatles' second album, which was like a 1978 purple pressing, but Canadian because we were in Canada, so you're going to see Canadian records a little bit more frequently. So. That place, but I'm glad that you guys did very, very well after we left. But that's all right. All's fair.
Yeah.
But a good trip nonetheless. Before we get into our topic proper, Kyle and I, Tony's already addressed this on his own channel. We want to give a quick thank you to Simon Hilton and the Lennon Estate. Thank you, Simon, for continuing to send us stuff from the Lennon Estate. We are the proud owners now of the War Is Over Zoetrope, with a personalized card, too, to each of us as well, with the note from Sean telling us about the film and when he first worked on it and how it's dropping on the 1st of December. So, by the time this episode goes out, the film's already going to be out. So, Kyle and I played this when we got it. It sounds phenomenal.
Sounds amazing.
The remix, I mean, it's the remix in the typical, Lennon kind of archive way. Side B is the original score with music from the film. And we have just not really figured out how to get the Zoetrope thing going. Tony did a video on his channel showing how it spins a little bit, but you've got to have the app. I haven't done that yet, but sonically, Kyle, it sounds great, doesn't it?
It's crystal clear. I think that, I don't know what it is, like whether the estate or whoever would still handle this the same way, whether, John was still with us or not, but there's something really special about John, being gone for so long, and in his absence, we remaster his music to hear his voice crystal clear, right? Yep. Like John, wasn't ever the biggest fan of his voice. He felt insecure about it, but in this record on, 45 RPM, great quality, his voice is just right in front of you. You can smell his breath. His voice is so clear. So that to me was that made my Christmas already. So so hopefully, if you see this in the record store, pick it up.
December the 5th comes out. December the
5th. A quick story I want to tell about the film. So we do an Oscar pool at my work every year, and I'm just awful at predicting stuff or just not super in the know about what's going to win an award in the Oscars or whatever. And so I came in like last place, if not last, like 25th out of 26th. The only reason, sorry, I didn't come in last. That's the point of the story. I didn't come in last because the one thing I guessed right was that this would win the Oscar for Best Short Film.
All right.
So looking out.
Yeah, so this is out on the 5th of December, and the film drops on the 1st. And there's Kyle Hand's prediction, Academy Award winner, right there.
Yes.
Inspired by the music of John and Yoko. And you're right, Tony. You've played it, right?
Yeah.
Sonically,
it's the best. It's the best Zoetrope I've heard, because ones that I've had before. I haven't got many, but the George Harrison ones, you know, they don't sound that great, I don't think. But this one sounds really, really good, and I you know, you can hear it on my video because I did those things as shorts as well,
Right.
so you can play the music, and yeah, sounds great.
Sounds great. So
I especially like the remix of "Listen, the Snow's Falling." I thought that was lovely.
Oh, me too. I've never heard that before. I'm still getting into Yoko, and I was really.
Oh, you didn't know that one?
I'd never heard of it. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, good track that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And not to mention the band on it too, and it's produced by
Yes,
John.
Yeah.
band. Yeah, really good.
So the purpose. So on today's show, we all know that it's anthologies all the rage in the Beatles world. But a couple of weeks ago, Paul, on the heels of the Got Back tour in North America, has continued the onslaught of the Wings product. We had the book, we've had the merch, we've had the shirts, we've had all that. But finally, Paul has dropped the first complete, depending on your word complete, how you define that, all-encompassing Wings compilation, simply titled Wings, in a myriad of formats: single green LP, 3 LP box color, 3 LP black, 2 CD, Blu-ray, out there. And Tony's shown it on his channel. I've shown it on my channel with our friend Boyan as well, talking about the variant formats with it. And really, I mean, we're here to chew the fat today on the track listing, the sound quality, and where the legacy, lies that Paul is leaving for people to think about his time in Wings.
Andy, you said it's the first. I know you said it's complete, not complete. I think what you meant is the first completely Wings.
Yeah, complete. All encompassing, not Wingspan with solo hits, not Wings Greatest that has things like Another Day and Uncle Albert on it, which in spirit feel like Wings, but they're not credited as Wings. And I know why he put them on there. But yeah, I mean, 32 tracks across a bunch of discs.
Well, let's just set the stage in terms of what is the Wings is in season right now. For who knows exactly why and why now, where is this coming from, right? But you have this 3 parts, celebration.
We know why it's here now in terms of the book anyway. But that's
that's the question though. Do you think that the book is leading the charge? And then because you also have the film, which is not, it's MPL blessed, but not MPL, made.
Right.
And then you have the compilation. It feels like those 3 things are like just marking this period as the Wings resurgence.
I think it's the book. I think the book is leading the charge here, and then everything else is after that.
Yeah, fair enough. And then with the, the film not being necessarily connected.
I think the book is leading the charge chronologically because it came out first. But I think the compilation is probably more important and will probably do better.
Yes, in the grand scheme of things, you're right, Tony. I agree with you. The compilation will stand the test of time. Yeah. So you guys want to talk about the tracks on it first to start?
Sure.
Tony, Kyle, go right ahead. Talk about something, omissions, favorites. We'll get into sound quality after that. But, I mean, as a whole, what do you think?
I think... as a whole, I mean, this is a compilation album, and no 2 people are going to agree about what song should be on it. And you can ask 100 people, you get 100 different answers. But on the whole, for me, this is a pretty stellar track listing. There are a few things that I think that maybe you could switch around. A couple of things that should have been on it that aren't on it, or maybe different versions. Like, for example, I would have definitely I'm absolutely fine with Venus and Mars Rock Show being on it, but put the album version on it, not the single edit. The single edit isn't great, and it wasn't a big hit. So if you're going to put it on there because it's a great album track rather than a failed single, then let's have the album version. I think that at 6 tracks out of 9 for Band on the Run, I think is a bit heavy. Is a bit heavy. I know it's the most, it's the most successful album, but then it's the most successful album. That means that's the album that most people have. So that's the most people already have those 6 tracks. I would have probably slimmed that down slightly.
So wait, let me cut in there. The only ones missing are Vanderbilt, Picasso, and No Words.
No Words.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can actually call it 7 tracks if you include Helen Wheels. You're talking about
you're good. Yeah,
if you're a Yank, yeah.
About the American version. So I thought that was too heavy, but that all the tracks that are included are kind of good enough to be on this compilation. Apart from maybe Mamounia, that would have, if I was going to get rid of any of them, it would have been that one. I think
that's the only one on the whole compilation you would get rid of.
No, from Ban on the Run.
From Ban on the Run. I was going to say, I love that one. So
side 1, Ban on the Run, Hi Hi Hi, Silly Love Songs, Letting Go, 1985. No problem with any of those. They should all be there. And then side 2, I think maybe Mamounia, I would probably switched out for something else.
Wait, this is a point of debate. Andy, Mamounia, thoughts?
2 thumbs up, home run. Love it.
Yeah, you're outnumbered here.
I love it, but I'm just saying, just bearing in mind 6 tracks from one album. If you're going to take off one, it seems a bit heavy when we've only got, say, 2 tracks from Back to the Egg.
Yeah, I would.
That's a subbable song.
Yeah, okay. I would forgo Mamounia for something else from Back to the Egg. For sure.
Yeah. No, I'm yanking your chain tone because I feel like I've heard you say on this show or your channel that Mamounia is not one of your favorites.
Well, out of these ones, I don't think it's the weakest song on the album. I think No Words is the weakest song on the album. But
unfortunately,
if I've got to swap something out, I'm getting rid of that. I'm having Cafe on the Left Bank from London Town in there.
Yeah.
Instead of that. Andy, you'll disagree with me on side 3. Get on the Right Thing. I'm glad that they picked a deep cut from Red Rose Speedway.
Right.
My deep cut from Red Rose Speedway would probably be Little Lamb Dragon.
Little Lamb.
Jet, My Love, Call Me Back Again. Absolutely. Getting Closer. Listen to what the man said. I've had enough. Love is Strange was a funny one for me not because I think it's a bad track, because it's not. It's a track that I enjoy. But this is Paul McCartney, the greatest songwriter of all time.
Let's not put a cover on there.
Let's not put a cover on. There must be a better Paul McCartney song. And I think that, if we want to have one from Wildlife, my pick would probably have been Dear Friend. On my channel, a lot of people said Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm with Tomorrow on that. I don't know about you guys. I feel like Love is Strange and Some People Never Know. They have like the same texture of just like kind of these very soft, almost like hippie harmonies that I kind of confuse them sometimes. That I'm kind of surprised that if you want some variance, why include both of them? So
and Tomorrow was nearly the single anyway, and that's so. It's a shame that didn't get on there.
Love is Strange was nearly a single as well, wasn't it?
It's right. It is nice to get on the right thing.
I think.
For the first time on any compilation, you've got something else other than My Love represented from Red Rose Speedway, because My Love has been the single track representing Wings. So it's nice to see that get some love. Would have been nice to have another track on there, as Tony mentioned. I would have definitely put Little Lamb Dragonfly on there too. In place of Helen Wheels, in place of a lot of songs, I would have taken Little Lamb Dragonfly. That would have been a masterclass, demonstration to give that song some attention on a compilation. I mean, we know it's dear to so many people, but
yeah. Tony, what else you got?
Deliver Your Children. I don't think. I know they want to represent Denny on this. With Deliver Your Children, that wouldn't have been my choice. I probably would have gone for Time to Hide if they wanted a song that was sung by Denny, and that one was written Deliver Your Children, I think, is a co-write with Paul and Denny.
Mm.
I remember rightly. I would have gone for Time to Hide. I think it's a better song. It's a Denny Lane composition, and he sings it as well. I think that's a better song. She's My Baby was an odd choice, I thought. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just thought it was an odd choice for a compilation. If you're going to pick something else from Speed of Sound, I probably would have gone for Beware My Love, maybe.
You know why I think that one fits? I think that certain Paul songs have like a resurgence for being weird. I think Arrow Through Me and Temporary Secretary are both in that vein of just Paul just like letting his hair down a little bit. And I think She's My Baby is in that.
It's in that realm.
Yeah. The thing I really like about that song is Paul's bass playing on that song.
Oh, yes.
On that song. I don't think it's great sort of lyrically or melody's okay.
Your baby's not like gravy?
No.
Mopping her up.
Not even the first drop, let alone the last drop. But his bass playing on that is brilliant, especially at the end.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. I like that. I enjoy that. I enjoy that. Wildlife, no problem with that. I think he one of McCartney's best ever vocals, I think, on that track. Really good vocal. Soily, I would have gone for the Wings Over America version rather than one hand clapping, but
odd, right?
Either they're both brilliant. They're both brilliant.
Do you think that they were just trying to like honor, like, hey, this was a new Wings album since 1978? You know, like you know, the fact that it was like they're trying to honor like a recent release rather. Is what I'm trying to say.
From one hand clapping. Yeah.
Maybe they want. He thought maybe something else with Jeff Britton.
Fair enough.
I think Jeff Britton drums on letting go. Does he?
Yeah.
I think. And Good Night Tonight, I've got no problem with, but I would have liked to have seen Daytime, Nighttime Suffering on there as well.
Yes, I adore that track.
The best track not to be on Back to the Egg.
Or this compilation. And it probably would have been the best track on Back to the Egg if you're asking me, but
it probably would have.
It would have been.
It would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's an interesting rundown. I think some other notable omissions for me is, well, okay. First, taking a step back, just thinking about what are we trying to show of who Paul is with this compilation? Because, you know, I think that Wings, it's kind of like ironically impossible to make a compilation about them because they're a moving object, right? They were never the same, like literally lineup wise, never the same band except for London Town and Band on the Run. And those were not even consecutive. You have some lineup switch between every single album. Like the only consistency there is Paul, Linda, and Denny. And, you know, sure, like they're the core of Wings, but like the 70s, they're changing. Like they go from kind of the hippie harmonies, soft stuff with not always soft, but, you know, a mix of that with Wildlife, rising up to arena rock in Wings Over America, and then taking this shift, kind of following the trends with some like disco, you know, in 79 or with Back to the Egg. Well, not only disco, but also punk, like again, following the trends. So to kind of give a compilation, it's not to say that like this is Wings is one thing. I think kind of more so the point of the compilation is to display Wings are many things. Wings were never the same thing twice. So here are all the things that Wings was. So that's why I think that some omissions I have in mind would better flesh that out. So I think Sally G would be a really fun one to include here. Again, it's like, okay, so you have, you know, Mull of Kintyre with bagpipes, you have Hi, a crazy rocker, and on the same album, you have Sally G and Arrow Through Me, and She's My Baby. So I think something like that. Another reason why I think that Daytime, Nighttime Suffering is a notable omission. But I don't know. What do you guys think about kind of my point of like, you can't say Wings is one thing. The whole point is that they're a changing entity.
No, I've never thought they were really.
No, I mean, and if you look at the artwork of this compilation, where there's about 500 photographs showing you all the different various members of Wings.
Sure.
So I think the packaging does a great job of telling you, well, you know what? This is not just one band. Look at all these different lineups.
I'm while we're talking about photographs, can I diversify slightly?
Go.
Sure.
Because it's connected with what you said. When you see, I mean, the packaging of this compilation is superb. It is superb. A lot of care has gone into it. But when you look at all those pictures of all the various incarnations of Wings that are on the sleeves of these records,
Yeah.
how on earth did they come up with that shitty photo that they used on the front of the book?
Oh.
When there's
yeah, bury them.
What were they going for? What's the worst photo we could use here?
For the UK book. It is a dodgy photo, isn't it?
It is. It's just crazy. Denny's looking at the camera. Denny Sywell's face is half obscured, and Linda's doing that.
You know, how do you, and again, you know, if you're putting out a book on Wings, how do you pick what photo of what lineup of the band? What do you do?
Yeah.
Honestly, the cover of the book should have been this.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you know, if you could do some sort of collage, you know, of a load of different photos, and then have Wings, you know, just over
embossed. There's a better cover for
That's
sure.
a better cover. Paul, give us a ring.
Omissions. We talked about this on other channels, I think, but and I think Tony, you and I discussed this. Why the omission of Maybe I'm Amazed live from Wings Over America, which was a bona fide major hit, you know, worldwide from that album, is not reproduced on this compilation. And I think, and I understand why, because it's a song that goes back to McCartney, right? And it's just a solo song that's not Wings, but Wings absolutely kills that song, and it's an omission. I would have included it on this.
I would have as well. I would have as well, but I think that is absolutely the reason it wasn't included.
So this means that not a single song from Wings Over America is featured.
No, and that was a top 10 hit.
Wow. Do you think that anything should? I mean, I think that's such an important album. Like, it's almost calling it not canon by not even throwing it.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You know, how do you not put that on there? I mean, Christ. I mean, every FM radio station in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, that's the song you're hearing all the time, and it's not represented on here. One of the most iconic performances of that track, but it's not a Wings track, and I understand why it's not included, but I don't agree.
No, but maybe they could have included something from that. I mean, Call Me Back Again is here, and I think the Wings Over America version of Call Me Back Again is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it wipes the floor with the studio version, which I love, but the live version is absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, because as we know, Venus and Mars was written and recorded to be played live, so it really wouldn't be an insult to any of those studio tracks to give them the elbow in favor of the live version
at all. But I mean, on the whole, it's a really good compilation. The track listing aside, it's good.
I think to longtime fans, and you guys included, so tell me your thoughts, this might be like blaringly obvious, but to me, this is, when you think about it, this is the first Paul compilation that I've been a fan for. I became a fan in 2018. Pure McCartney came out in 2016, and by fan I mean like diehard, you know, right? And so this is kind of my first time to grapple with, you know, this the tried and true McCartney compilations, right? Like what were compilation tracks, as in what is he putting on every single compilation? When he puts out another one in 2045, what can I tell you right now, you know, recording with you today, that is going to be on there, like, or I'll bet the whole farm on it, right? And so I went a little bit insane You work the hardest when you have other things to do, right? So I
Mhm.
divorced from my responsibilities for a night and made this Google spreadsheet, which we'll put in the description. And it's I just went through and tracked which songs have been on every single compilation. And again, as longtime fans, I bet you guys could have guessed this, but for me, it was kind of interesting to put it down. So every single Wings comp, from Wings Greatest, All the Best, Wingspan, and Pure McCartney. Well, sorry, not Wings comp, Paul comp with Wings material, which is still all of them. You have Band on the Run, Silly Love Songs, Live and Let Die, Let 'Em In, Jet, My Love, Mulv Kintyre, and With a Little Luck. So, and by the way, that's actually the entire track list of Wings Greatest, except for the songs credited just to Paul / Paul and Linda.
And Junior's Farm.
Oh, and Junior's Farm. Thank you.
But that's US only, right?
All the best.
All the best is US.
All the best
Yeah.
US had Junior's Farm. UK didn't, I don't think.
Right.
No.
So I don't know. Like, is this like a less than a $200 Jeopardy question? Just to be like, yeah, of course, this is what Paul. Because I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, this feels like what Paul really wants his legacy to be. I really like digging into all the new stuff that's on this for the first time, but this is like this feels like Hall of Fame McCartney song.
Yeah, these 10 tracks are the ones that he wants to be known for forever. Yeah. I think it's a layup. I think it's a layup of a question. You know, I think ask any ardent McCartney fan, they'll throw those 9 tracks off easily as the best selling Wing, the best Wings hits that are going to be included. So it's no wonder why they're included on all the compilations up to this point and this current Wings one.
Well, do you think though that for yet another compilation, because I mean he's been around a while, but this is his 5th compilation, right? Like, do you think that is it sacrilege to say, like, you know what, My Love has been on every single compilation. If people want to hear it, listen to All the Best.
No, because you know what? 5 compilations in the grand scheme of things is actually not a lot at all. The Who have about 20. There's plenty of bands. The Beach Boys have about 20. I mean, there are Chicago has a bunch. 5 compilations is actually not a lot at all.
5 compilations in a 50-year career is not overkill, I don't think.
It's not.
You're always releasing a compilation, not necessarily for a different generation, but to a different audience. If you're doing it every 10 years, then you're doing, it's a different audience. But
I agree.
If he thinks that these songs are so important to his catalog, why does he very rarely play Mull of Kintyre live, the biggest hit single he's ever had? Why has he never played With a Little Luck live? Yeah, and the others Silly Love Songs he only played on the Wings Over America tour. So they're not they don't seem important enough for him to play them live when he goes out to play to fans, but he puts them on all the compilations.
I wonder what that disconnect is.
Well, Mull of Kintyre is obviously tricky because he's got to have a pipe band to do it properly. With a Little Luck might be tricky to play live because it's got no guitars on it.
No.
Yeah. And obviously Silly Love Songs is a song that is very difficult to reproduce without Linda's harmony.
Yeah. True.
Without Linda.
But there was plenty of time for him to do Silly Love Songs when Linda was still with us.
Yeah.
There was the UK tour. He didn't play it on that tour, and obviously the 89-90 tour and the 92-93 tour.
Yeah,
she was here, so they could have done it. But I think as good as the band are today, and they are really, really good. I think it would be a big ask to get them to do Linda's harmonies on that.
Yeah, I understand. No, but I almost wonder, like, if, I mean, this kind of feels impractical, but like to make some, if you made some like gold tinted record, right, of Paul's Paul's career, it would have just like these 8 or 9 songs on them, like just the absolute essential Paul stuff. But
They're the ones that he's going to be the most remembered for. That's for
yeah.
sure.
So on the other side of things, so that's what's been on every single Paul comp. But then there's a handful of new ones that I'm saying have just entered what I'm calling the Hall of Fame. So it's 12 songs that Paul is now saying these are compilation worthy. So you have Wild Life, never been on one. Some People Never Know, Love is Strange, Get on the Right. Well, let's start with the 3 Wildlife comps, because aside from London Town, this is the only album to get 3 new songs on a comp. Mm-hmm. So we were talking about this before, Andy, but do you feel like Wildlife is now suddenly kind of like back in Paul's good graces?
It is because of his reestablished connection with our friend Denny Sywell. It's a period that he can recall fondly now because it was the beginning of the band, and I think having Denny's, memories and as we know from the McCartney legacy, Denny's journals, and that period was so well chronicled for Paul to go back and look at it and say, well, you know what? I'm going to, that album actually was pretty good. I'm going to go give it some love,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tone, what do you think about the new Wildlife tracks?
I've got no problem with Wildlife, and Some People Never Know being on it. I think they deserve to be on it. Mm-hmm. As I said earlier, I just think there are better songs on that album.
Yeah.
Than Love is Strange. But I really like the Wildlife album, and mm-hmm. It's got a very special feel to it. And I'm not sure if you pick up on that feel, but when you extract these songs mm-hmm. from its natural habitat of that album, and plonk them onto a compilation. But
that's a great point.
But I do think that Wildlife and Some People Never Know stand on their own as 2 really, really strong.
They do, and I have no problem with them being on this compilation. Mm-hmm. I just think that the track where they've slotted Wildlife towards the end of the compilation is an odd placing. I would have put that more in the top third of this compilation. To have it come at, like with a little luck and Soily and Goodnight Tonight, because it's such an early kind of Wings track that has that kind of grassroots, organic, or just kind of coming together feel. Mm-hmm. And you have it at the end of the compilation, and it just kind of feels like this a little bit.
It's odd sequencing for sure.
It is.
So we kind of talked about Get on the Right Thing and Mamunia. I mean, instead of Mamunia, I probably would have added Picasso's Last Words. I mean, I love that song. I think that, again, if you already have 6 songs from, or I guess 5 or 6 songs from Band on the Run, I feel like Picasso's Last Words it's a little bit more experimental. And
I love that track. I'm not sure how popular that is with other fans, but I love the.
Well, you speak French, and as I heard in Montreal, so you would.
Oui. Un peu. But anyway.
So don't you know who I am in French? Sorry.
But Picasso's Last Words, I love the story behind that song, which makes it, I think, makes it even more special. And I like the fact that it reprises Mrs. Vanderbilt and Jet in it, and it's got all this great homemade African percussion in it, where they've just got a load of gravel in a tin can and they're sort of shaking it, and stuff like that. I think it's a much better song than Mamunia. I think it's a much better song than No Words, and it should be here. If we're gonna have 6 songs from one album that has only got 9 tracks, then that should be one of them, I think.
No, I agree. And again, I don't know about you guys, but I am seeing this as the Wings Hall of Fame. And Mamunia, you've got other players that are just like Mamunia. I think it's great at resembling the classic Wings harmony that we really kind of know and love them for. But that's kind of the through line throughout Wings. We have that. I think Picasso's last words, there's nothing else like it, and it belongs a spot. It belongs on here. So yeah, Soily, we discussed that. Letting Go. I don't know. I think it works well on this one. I think a more kind of out there one like Treat Her Gently. Do you think that would have landed well on a comp, or is that kind of like Wildlife? It would have been outside of its habitat.
Yeah, I think Letting Go works better as a standalone track. I mean, especially because it's been in the set list for so many years. Treat Her Gently is such it's like, yeah, it's so tied to the feel of Venus and Mars to just, and how would you drop Treat Her Gently? Because it's linked, obviously, to listen to what the man said. So are you linking those two together? Or
Yeah.
I think there's others that are linked that they delink.
You can do that because, if because you could reverse that whole idea and say, well, how can you have listened to what the man said without it linking into Treat Her Gently? They've done it. They've done a fade out on it.
Oh yeah,
because it was a single.
Right.
But I mean, I love Treat Her Gently, Lonely Old People, but I'm not sure if it's. I think that's maybe too deep a cut for a compilation. I don't know.
I would have put Magneto here.
It's a brilliant track. It is a brilliant track. But I love Letting Go as well. And and Paul obviously loves it because he's had it back in the set since about 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's never let it go.
No, he hasn't let it go. Well, that's actually a reason why when I did this list and I saw it was on a Wings Paul comp for the very first time, I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, but we saw him do it in Montreal, and it is one of the best songs in the set.
Yeah,
definitely. It is really good. So I can see why he wanted that included, because don't forget Paul was curated this, not created. He's created it and curated it.
Yeah, both.
Trouble. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's again what I think makes it so worth poring over. That you have these 12 new ones, but then so She's My Baby, we more or less talked about that. Because also, do you think that if we're going to add something for At the Speed of Sound, okay, here's my hot take of the episode for anyone who's
here we go. Listening. I've been waiting for it.
Oh boy.
Take out She's My Baby, a song that I adore. Okay. You're putting in.
So far, your take is lukewarm.
Okay.
I'm with you all the way.
Cook of the House.
Bugger off.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
How are you going to have a Wings comp without a Linda song?
Not that one.
Come on.
Nope. No.
Have a heart, won't you?
I put Seaside Woman on there before Cook of the House.
Yeah,
I love Seaside Woman, but Cook of the House is actually. Didn't that actually get radio play? Like, Seaside Woman was. I mean, that was just like a B-side or something.
Christ, I'd put the Oriental Nightfish on here before I put Cook of the House.
Yeah.
I want Cook of the House to lead off side 2.
Oh.
No.
Good luck with that.
No,
but come on. I mean, okay.
I know what you're saying. You want Linda to be represented, and that's a lead vocal.
But her representation is there is far more representation of Linda's talent in all these tracks that are here.
Yes.
Than ever would be from Cook of the House.
I mean, listen to her on Silly Love Songs. I mean, come on, she carries that song.
No, I know. I'm being provocative. I think though, there's also this tension here though of, we know when Paul made this band, he's like, this is a band where, we can all take turns singing and all this. And that was most fleshed out in At the Speed of Sound. And then out of these 32 songs, you get one Denny Lane song, and it's not misrepresentative. Like, he is the singer throughout the really entirety of Wings. But do you think that there, of these At the Speed of Sound songs, you could have slotted in, Jimmy McCall vocal or something?
Yeah. I mean, if they were going to do that, then Medicine Jar would have been the one. But
totally.
But again, it's I'm not sure if it's compilation worthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like how are you trying to showcase the other members of the band by giving them vocal spots? I mean,
I don't think that um, the vocals are necessarily the best thing to to highlight a member of the band.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of great guitar performances from Jimmy McCulloch that highlight
Sure.
his talent. And what do you do with the drummers? You're saying we should put on "Must Do Something About It."
right.
I love that song.
But then how do you represent Denny Sywell or Jeff Britton?
Yeah.
Or
Well, you can't represent everyone that didn't do a vocal. Sure. I think that, sorry if I'm taking this a little bit too literally, but by naming the compilation Wings, I'm kind of thinking it's making the statement, this is Wings, you know?
Yeah, it is. But if you look at the total number of tracks that Wings did,
Mm-hmm.
and then the percentage of songs that
Yeah.
aren't sung by Paul,
Uh-huh.
then you've probably got the right balance of
One of
song.
32?
There
One
you
of
go.
32 is the balance?
And
One
there you
song.
go. And there's the age-old thing, Wings as a band or just people playing with Paul. And in theory, Paul really wanted it to be a band. He liked being in a band, but in truth, it was never going to be able to happen because it was Paul McCartney. And that is the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
And the members will tell you that. And
It
it
is.
could be a band. It could be a band in terms of jamming and touring and living on the road and all that. But at the end of the day, the buck stopped with the boss. And that was ended. It was never going to be a band like the Beatles. Ever.
Well, I'm with you. I'm just saying that this was Paul's curated list. So if he in 2025 had this hindsight to say, wow, Wings really was a group, I want to, give everyone a spotlight, then he would have done it.
But he didn't.
But he didn't. So I'm saying, does that tell us how Paul sees things today?
Yes. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But I think, as I say, I don't think the singing and the writing of any of the members of Wings is the greatest way to highlight their massive contribution to this band. And I think that everyone that was in Wings has made a massive contribution towards the output of the band. And it doesn't have to be a vocal or a right. Look at we still think of the Who as being a band, but Pete Townsend still writes all the songs. Doesn't he? But we still think of the Who as being a band. Roger does not all the vocals, but most of the vocals. And we don't not think of them as a band. But Paul is the principal writer. He is the star of the band. He's one of the best bass players that's ever lived, and he's the greatest songwriter that's ever lived. And he's got to be. Most of the songs need to be his.
Now, I agree. I think that for my tastes, you can take out Deliver Your Children. You could replace that with the Paul song. I'm fine with that. But I'm just wondering if this is how Paul, this is what he wants it to present as for eternity. And, maybe I'm making this compilation to be kind of too big, but if you're just like a brand new fan that just opens up this compilation and you're like, wow, silly love songs, Band on the Run, this is amazing. I hope those songs are on every compilation. And then, you just get the impression that Paul is Wings and Wings is Paul, which again, kind of Andy, like what you're saying is that's true. That's just true. But I don't know. Just thought I'd kick the tires on that old idea of
So what about if I'm not talking about diehards that buy every compilation.
Who would do that?
Say I hate using the term casual fan because fan means fanatic.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a casual fan, but maybe you're not a diehard, you're not buying everything. What are the songs that if you're not buying everything attracts you to a Wings compilation? and it's probably that first list of 10 songs or whatever it was that we talked about. Those are the ones that were the big hits that people remember. They're not interested probably in Bluebird or Call Me Back Again, or Some People Never Know, or something something like that. Things that maybe have flown over the radar, even though they're missing out by doing that.
They are.
But they're just a casual listener that is just going to slip a CD into the drive in their car or whatever, or stream this stuff. What do you think? What are the songs that are going to bring those people in?
Those top 10s, so all the biggies, and that's why they've made it on every single compilation.
Yeah, well, but that's kind of the funny thing, though, that I don't understand. Like, it makes sense if it's 1978 and you've heard all of these songs on the radio, and you're like, I don't really feel like buying London Town, but if I can get my favorite song from London Town with a little luck, and then all these singles that I already know and love, I'm just gonna buy that instead of London Town. But now these songs have been on every single compilation for the past 50 years. So it's like, who does not already know these songs that is even like the tiniest fan?
Right.
No, it's only new fans that are not going to know, a lot of these songs, I suppose.
No, I think it's this compilation's done the best job of kind of getting all the eras of Wings tied up in a bow in one package. And that's the bottom line with this. And then the best way possible to showcase every lineup of the band. Could they have done it a little bit better with Juba and Holly and Back to the Egg and all that? And as we said, daytime, nighttime, some live stuff would have been nice on here too, to showcase how good a live band Wings was, as Tony saw them. And, that's an aspect of it too, is like, there's nothing live here. It's just all studio stuff. So there are things that we could have tweaked here a little bit, but it's all, this is what is being pushed as Wings in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, they could have gone really cheeky and put on something from Wings Over Europe on this.
That would have been a scandal
to represent, that the first / second lineup of Wings. I don't know whether Mark 1 is the Wildlife album and Red Rose Speedway, or whether Mark 1 is Red Rose Speedway is really Mark 2. That's how I think of it. So when Henry comes in, that's Mark 2. When it goes down to the 3, that's Mark 3, really. Then when
Jeff Britton comes in and Jimmy McCulloch, that's 4.
And then when Joe English comes in, that's 5. And then
now 6.
And then what happens? It goes back to 3.
6 goes back to 3 again.
Mark 3, and then we've got Mark 6 with Steve and Lawrence, right?
Well, 7 really, 7, because 3 and 6 are the same.
Well, Tony, you totally just blew my mind there, because I totally forgot, because it's not on streaming or anything, that the Big Barn box had Wings Over Europe. Correct. So MPL has that mixed and mastered in the vaults, ready to go. They totally could have slipped that in. That would have been super creative.
They could have put, but then again, you're thinking about, the songs that want to be on a compilation, and maybe not all, that maybe there's not many from. You're talking about mostly deep cuts on that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, okay. One last note I'll make about that. This is maybe a little more.
Can I just say one thing? If they had put the Wings Over Europe version of, say, something like maybe Give Ireland Back to the Irish, which hasn't made the cut of this album.
It's not in the Hall of Fame.
It would have sold all the hardcore that didn't get
not
that hardcore, because they didn't get the Big Barn box, but people that want a lot of people wanted Give Ireland Back to the Irish. In the comments on my video, a lot of people wanted Give Ireland Back to the Irish and Mary Had a Lamb Little Lamb in this compilation because they were singles. But imagine if they put the live version that was on Wings Over Europe that no one's got apart from people that have got the big bum box.
Yeah.
All these people just, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. I've got
It
all
would
this
now.
stuff. You've got something you haven't got. You haven't got that.
I'm guilty. Tony, I am guilty of that, my man. That is 100% me. I scoffed at this because if I'm going to buy something, if I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on something, I just want something new. And so the only thing I bought was the 5.1 Blu-ray just because I wanted something different. And even if it's as kind of
you didn't get any of the other vinyl stuff. You got the
no, but seriously, if this had something from that exclusive Wings Over Europe Big Barn box, I would have bought 2 of these. Just
Paul, give me a call. That's 2 marketing tips I've sorted out for you.
Yeah.
So, when I'm there, I'll help you with the London town and back to the egg.
Yeah. Well, that actually feeds well into my next point that if you are a super nerd and are looking at this spreadsheet, like I hoped people will do, in bold, I put things that are apparently on the 1 CD version of this. I feel like on streaming there's the 2 CD. Do you guys even realize there's a 1 CD stripped down version of this?
I mean, I have the 1 LP. I have the 1 LP version.
Okay.
And the one CD is the same as that, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in bold, I have, so this is like the famous of the Hall of, the most precious part of the Hall of Fame, right? And it's the same stuff again that we listed before. It's been on every single thing except Junior's Farm, and all those things that I was reading before that are all getting their first time feature in this Hall of Fame. They're not on the 1 CD, right? That you have to buy the deluxe compilation to get those. So I think that that's totally where you could have slipped in, like a super deep cut, like something from Wings Over Europe. So I guess what I'm trying to kind of nitpick is that you're saying that is it compilation worthy? Well, you have the 1 CD as like that's the neat, that's what I call music compilation,
right?
But then you kind of like have some leg room with the deluxe, and that's what they used it for. That's where you get on the right thing. But it's like, go the extra mile, man. Put on some, Wings Over Europe.
I missed.
Did you want to talk about the sound quality, Andy?
Yeah, we can pivot to that. Well, it was one of the reasons why Kyle bought it was the Dolby Atmos and the 5.1, which is really the gem of this. And McCartney does not remix his music much, so this is really the crown jewel, the Blu-ray of the whole thing. And I say, with even just listening to it on streaming on a little tinny MacBook computer in Nashville, Boyan and I started hearing things going, oh, did you hear that extra guitar riff and hi? Did you hear this? And did you hear that? And it was really good. I don't know, Kyle and Tony, if you guys have listened to the 5.1, but it's really, I mean, for the first time, you're hearing all these different nuances. Jet sounds like something like you don't even hear it. It's just, it sounds like the horns are like underwater. It's very different.
Oh, those deep, they seriously sound like they're coming from hell itself.
You know what I'm talking
horns.
about, Kyle?
Those are deep horns. I love
it.
Yes, those are amazing.
So it's really, the 5.1 has really been the one that other than having the vinyl, which is nice, but like the 5.1 has been really just the best of the whole.
Yeah.
Thing
Tony,
so
you've got a 5.1 at home?
I have, but I haven't picked up the 5.1 Blu-ray yet. So we heard bits of it in Montreal on Andy's MacBook, but obviously, that's just got the 2 speakers. So and they're very small. It's a very thin.
Right.
Do you have Do you have Apple Music?
I do. Yeah.
Do you have Bluetooth? For your 5.1?
No,
okay.
No, because it comes through my AV amp. That it doesn't have Bluetooth. So the only way I would be able to listen to it through that system in the house would be to have it on a physical Blu-ray.
I see.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have. I trust that I don't have to explain this to you guys. That I'm quite a big fan of Sir Paul. I have a distaste for, or rather disinterest in compilations, But now that we have the podcast and I want to be ready to talk about all the new things, and also just having the podcast just makes me more excited about new things that come up. So I was really trying to see the good in this. And the 5.1 on my system, maybe my Blu-ray is just not great. I only have stereo. I don't have 5.1. So I was listening to the Blu-ray. I mean, I did the settings right, so it was playing stereo, but it just wasn't like a big sonic leap or anything. But as I was listening to this more on my regular old AirPods, I was like, why is this really, really good? Like, what is different about this? Like, I heard those deep horns in Jet, like we were talking about. There were songs that I've totally just discarded for years. For example, I've Had Enough. I've had enough after the first listen. I was never a fan, but just something about this new mix just kicked it right into gear for me, and I realized that it's this Dolby Atmos.
Yeah.
So a quick background on this, that if you're still listening an hour in, then you'll hopefully enjoy this. That back in 2022, Apple Music announced that they're rolling out Dolby Atmos as just a part of their streaming service, not as a luxury add-on, but they're trying to say that we are making Dolby Atmos the new way to listen to music. Why? Because no other streamers are doing it, at least not at the time.
No.
And also because they design all of their proprietary headphones to be 5.1 capable. Whether AirPods, if you have AirPods that from the last 4 years, they are probably Dolby Atmos capable. And so wanting to keep everything in their ecosystem, they want this superior thing to be like the norm, right? And so ever since then, McCartney and his team have just jumped on this bandwagon, to my knowledge, kind of with little fanfare, that whenever there has been a McCartney release in the last 4 years, they've also made a spatial audio. They've replaced the album that was existing on iTunes now in spatial audio.
Yes.
So what do we have since then? The first release to be rolled out with this was the McCartney 321. Yep. So if you go to your Apple Music, McCartney, so you have McCartney 2, and McCartney 3 are all in spatial audio. And the other, I guess the next release, I don't know if sequentially, but One Hand Clapping.
Venus and Mars got it too.
Venus and Mars and Band on the Run, when they got the half-speed master, which is not like a box set or whatever, they also got 5.1 treatment on Apple Music. One Hand Clapping, you wouldn't think that the backyard tapes of One Hand Clapping require 5.1 treatment. That's not the point. The point is anything new that McCartney releases from now until the next format will be 5.1. And so this is no different. At first I was like, I wonder if this is because this is a compilation and they're thinking about the next generation. They are putting this in 5.1 to appeal to the ears of the Gen Zers with their AirPods.
Yes.
No, not necessarily. Maybe partially. The reality is this is just what they're doing from now on, 5.1. So I really appreciate it because I live in a tiny New York City apartment. I don't have the space for 5.1. My neighbors certainly don't have the tolerance for me blasting 5.1. And so, I'm on the go. I spend a lot of the time on the subway. I have the latest AirPods Pro. And so I'm blasting this and it just sounds amazing.
It sounds great.
Because essentially, this is the last thing I'll say. What is 5.1 in my mind? It's really just an expanded stereo. They're just not limited to the left-right, split. Obviously you're still listening with left and right speakers essentially, but you can just put these sounds, just scatter them all around the soundstage with no cutoffs. And so every sound in the soundstage just has its space. Nothing is tripping or stepping on any other sound. And I think that, Andy, you've noticed more like genuine remix changes, but it's kind of the spread outness is what I've appreciated the most.
Okay. I mean, having listened to this music for 30 something years, your ears are just are tuned a different way. So that's where my ears are going to go to, going, "Ooh, I heard that extra guitar riff." Not the whole kind of centering of what you're talking about, which I appreciate. But it's not the first thing I go to. And Tony, I'm sure you probably would agree that you're hearing licks and things like that, and different things brought out in these mixes that you haven't heard for decades, right?
Those go right over my head.
They do?
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I could sit there in 30 seconds and go, "Oh, that's new. That's different. That's new. That's different," because this music, and I know Tony hasn't really properly heard this yet, but he will. To me, that's what stands out. And that's what I love about the remix is the overall soundscape of the picture you've painted. I get that in terms of like a whole total sound. But for me, it's all about hearing the other instruments or the other vocals or other things that have been buried that we've never heard before. That's what I love.
Well, the bury is the exact right word. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at. That now that sound that was buried because of 5.1, they're not cluttered in your left ear.
No,
it's kind of, it can spread out, and now you can hear that thing because it has a more distinct place in the sound space.
It's funny is that you can hear this on a pair of AirPods,
Yeah.
right? But then if you've got a system like Tony's got, he's got a proper 5.1 setup. He'll hear the same thing, but he'll hear it in bigger over across a few speakers in a great big room.
That's just the magic of modern technology that they're able to do this. I don't know exactly how.
Two little things in your ear are giving you this sound that Tony can get in a room with sounds all over the place.
So are you saying that the Atmos mix is on Apple Music?
It is.
Yes. Yes.
So, but you're saying that only the AirPods have the technology to
to
read that information.
I would say the AirPods are by and large, at least.
Because I've got
it's true because I have Apple Music and when I've played this in my car, I don't hear the same thing as if I was listening to it on my AirPods.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I've got these. So I don't have AirPods, but I have Baron Wilkins, which are
British thing.
Fairly, these are fairly high end earpods.
Yeah, only the best for Tony.
And I don't know whether they have the capability of listening to replaying Dolby Atmos, because these are Bluetooth.
They might not. So I looked into it.
I'll try it.
Yeah. So give it a try. They might not. So again, one thing that I was interested in is this Apple just their classic Apple's maniacal corporation trying to keep everything within their ecosphere? Because I looked into this, and so Amazon Music, I think they are also trying to do the whole Dolby Atmos thing, and their partner is Sony. So if you have, and so I think Sony calls it like real audio. Again, it's just another like brand name for surround sound.
Right.
And so Sony and Amazon are like a team, right? And then also you have if you have like an Android phone, like a Samsung, you could have Samsung earbuds, and they'll work with Apple Music, they'll work with Amazon. It's getting kind of into the weeds of like decoding certain file types and whatnot, which is, again, I bet you guys remember the good old days of just remembering how to plug in a record player and saying, let her rip. But this is the reality of corporate music in 2025.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what I think is cool though, essentially, is that it's, Apple, it's not cheap. I'm not going to say it's like for the everyman, but when I look around New York City subways, everybody has AirPods, and it's a way to bring this music that we love in a new format to essentially millions of people. And frankly, a lot more millions of people than people that buy vinyl.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Bailey Tone, she's got AirPods, so I can check it on hers and see whether
not after you grab them.
See if you, but see, listen, have a listen to it, Tony, tomorrow, and see if you hear these differences that we heard in Montreal just through my little MacBook speakers.
Yeah.
See if you hear them through that. I'd be dying to know if you hear those things that we heard.
Okay. And if not, I'll just have to get the Blu-ray.
Yeah, but it's funny. I will, will the Blu-ray and what's on Apple Music differentiate? It, in theory, it should sound the same.
No, it should sound the same.
It should.
Yeah. But also what's weird though is that yes, this one had a Blu-ray, but the other releases that I mentioned didn't have Blu-ray.
That's why I'm surprised you bought this, because you're such a streaming kid. Like you bought a Blu-ray, and
so I'm not such a streaming kid. Do you have to see my records?
No, I know that, but I mean, you embrace the technology and you ride the subways and you can put AirPods in and you can hear it. You can hear it. I'm just surprised you bought the Blu-ray when you can hear the same thing streaming from your phone.
It was a journey to go from, hey, this Blu-ray is not quite cutting it on my system, not meeting expectations. That's when I adopted the Apple Music.
Let me put these on and see if I actually hear it, right? Because you are, again, given your limitations, you're like, I can't put 5 speakers in this apartment and blast it out.
Yeah. And it's just, even like when the Red and Blue came out, and even like Red and Blue is in Dolby Atmos, and then the Venus and Mars, I listened to that and just, it wasn't clicking. I was like, what is different about this? I'm not hearing, like, I expected to hear like a drum roll go from like back of my head all the way to like the front of my head. But it's not really as like dramatic as that. The difference really, it's kind of like the difference between mono and stereo, where mono is just one packed punch through one speaker.
Right.
And people didn't like stereo at first because it's like, hey, it's losing that punch if it's spread out over 2 speakers. Now it's kind of the same thing. Instead of 2 speakers, it's spread out over like 60 speakers.
Right, exactly.
And so I honestly, when I'm listening back and forth, I can tell you, like, sometimes I think that the Dolby Atmos kind of loses its guts.
You think so?
Sometimes, I mean, because I love stereo.
I'm the same. I'm not fussed about listening to music in spatial.
Tony, yeah, that's one of Tony's famous lines. He goes, I don't need it coming from all areas. Yeah. I just want it coming right at me from one speaker here and one speaker here.
I want to straighten here, baby. Come on.
I don't need a cowbell in my left ear hole, but it is. I'm willing to give it a go.
Yeah, no, it is nice. It is nice to actually hear this music in a new way, because we actually haven't heard Paul's music, Wings, presented this way. So it gives another wrinkle for us to listen to Wings in a new way with modern technology, whether it's through here or through 5.1.
No,
so
you hit the nail on the head. It's listening to it in a new way. That this is kind of, I think, I mean, we'll see, but I think it's quietly becoming the new format.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep an eye out. Like, if you follow any new artists, like, I'm not saying it's 100% of the time, but their next album might be in spatial audio. Maybe.
I mean, back in the day, I mean, they did things like, Tony, do you remember the DVD A when they were actually making albums in DVD A? If you had and it was basically, you'd buy a DVD and it was DVD audio, and like albums were coming out, bands were putting them out, and then you had to buy the DVD, but it was DVD audio. It was like 5.1 and Blu-ray before that.
No, I don't remember that at all.
DVD A, and it was just like an audio version of like the disc. A lot of bands I was into at the time, yes, put a bunch of albums out that way. DVD audio. It wasn't, and you actually had to buy a DVD of the album, and you put it into your DVD player to hear it.
Oh, right, okay. So
just the album. It wasn't a visual thing, but
yeah, it's like these Blu-rays that are coming out now that are just of
but
the
before
album.
that, but it was a DVD version of the whole
thing. This is what we're talking about, early noughties.
Yes. Yeah, 2000, 2001, something like that. But yeah, and it was just, but now this is what we have now. But now we have it streaming, so an easy way to do it. So
yeah, so if you've got AirPods, give it a spin, try it out, or if your wife has AirPods, steal those.
Sorry, Kim, he's taking them.
Yeah.
Oh, are we gonna mention that Carl's got his Christmas tree up and it's already November? It's only November.
Hey, this is being released on December 2nd. All right,
don't all good. He's all good. It should be. He should be fine by then. Oh, I think that's a good episode. Yeah. Right now, we can.
Does it make it better? We watched the Wonderful Christmas video or Wonderful Christmas Time video while we were putting it up. So
you're all good then.
Gotta get that's even. We're all even.
And I ordered some sleigh bells from Amazon today.
Did you?
Yeah, because we're doing a Christmas song in the band. So
Oh, really?
Good, good. All right. Well, I'll close this out here. So we said it all right. We've got a little bit of editing for Kyle to do, but not much.
Yeah.
118, Kyle. If you want to, if you're gonna, if you need me to edit it, I'll edit it. I'm happy to edit it. You let me know.
We'll talk so you don't have to cut out more stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. Well, that's going to do it here for this episode of Hands Across the Water. There's our take on wings and all things modern technology, spatial audio 5.1, track listings. Do let us know in the comments below if you totally embrace what we're talking about with the AirPods, or is this compilation just a waste of your time totally, or are you just embracing it in general? Let us know below. So everything below, Beatly Tones channel, the Hands Across the Water Instagram, which is a little dormant, but it's there, is all below, as long as links to my channel, Backward Traveler, as well as Two Legs. So we will see you all in a couple of weeks, and see you next time.
see you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.